Tori Green. Tori's going to recap the Wyoming game and how you thought the defense played, and then we'll take a few questions.
Yeah, I think overall, score says we played well, but our main goal as a team is to play great defense. And we played good defense. We played well, but we didn't stop the run, and that's number one: is to stop the run, create turnovers, which we didn't have any, and so overall, we did okay, but we didn't play Utah State defense the way we wanted to play.
Coach Boone has expressed concern about red zone defense. That looks like it's still kind of a little bit of an issue. What's been kind of the biggest issue with the red zone defense?
Stopping the run, stop the run, make them one-dimensional, and then go from there. We gotta be able to stop the run in order for them. Because obviously they're running in the red zone. That's how they're scoring, and we haven't done a great job at doing that, playing red zone defense.
Isn't an issue these injuries and things to the guys along the line there?
It could play a factor, but as we always say, next guy up, next man up. So everybody got to do their own job and play at 100% and play Utah State defense.
Okay, the quote from Nick after the game, Tori, was, "We are not fitting the runs or leveraging right." So explain in not too technical terms what isn't happening there to stop the run then, if that's what he's saying is not there.
Well, when he says leverage or when he says fitting, being in your gap and leveraging, so meaning the guys on the outside or whoever is the first man to the point of contact, leveraging so the next guys could run, and be able to, rally to the ball. And if we don't leverage, the ball get outside of them or whoever, that guy is that's supposed to leverage at that point. And obviously they get more yards than we intend for them to get.
So like against Hill, for instance, of Wyoming, when they'd have a running play, you'd run up into where you were. Did you notice that, gosh, all of a sudden you were having to lean one way or another, or had they moved you with their blocking, or had they done something to make it tougher to get to where you thought you were needed to be to make the tackle?
I feel like I was in the right spot. A few times I could have, I got washed down a few times. But as far as me being in the right spot, I was in the right spot. I just didn't wrap up or make the tackle. Like that one, he scored that big run. I didn't wrap up. I could have made that tackle, and he just cut back, and he was a good back.
So have missed tackles been a big part of these last two games?
Missed tackles has for sure been, the biggest issue that we've had. Not wrapping up, not rallying to the ball, and that if when you have two good backs, San Diego State and Wyoming, that's going to happen.
Nick Smith was, he had the ability to run the ball. I think maybe he's got a different beast this week with Jordan at New Mexico. In terms of balanced rushing attack, how big of a challenge will it be considering how many guys they have to run the football?
We'll just go in, you know, and do what we can, and play Utah State defense. There's no other way we can do that, and just we play defense the way we're supposed to play. We'll be able to stop the run.
Our coaches are always telling us that it's hard when Kent is such a good runner. What is the tough dimension of a running back and quarterback running combination? How much does it make it harder?
It makes it hard because you have read option. You have a guy that's that knows how to read the defense, and that's explosive. Say for instance like Kent. It makes it harder, a little bit harder for to focus on one running back versus a quarterback, a running back, two running backs. It makes it a little bit more difficult because you're keying all three instead of just one guy.
And you remember a little bit these New Mexico running backs from last year. They were the guys who, if they got through the line, they went.
Yeah.
They were very explosive.
Fortunately, I didn't play in that
Was that when
game.
you got hurt?
Yeah, I got hurt last Wyoming game, but they're fast guys. They're good backs, and it goes back to what Nick said. Leverage and making sure we're in our gaps. If that happens, the way our defense is, if somebody missed their gap or missed their leverage or missed a spill, it's out of the gate. So we just got to do our job, and everybody has to do their job, you know, and that's what makes us stop the run.
Jordan, you guys have so many good linebackers. A couple of guys you mentioned all the time, for, you know, and rightfully so. You're not mentioned all the time. You okay with that?
I'm all right with it. I got to do what I can to help the team. You know, it's all right. We know that we do have some good linebackers, Nick and Fackrell and LT. They're great players, you know. And so as long as I'm doing my job, doing the dirty work, that's all that matters.
It just seems like you've always brought a lot of positive energy and everything, the way you handled stuff after the accident and all
Right.
that. But where's that come from?
Comes from my parents. My dad always told me that you have to do what you can, you know, no matter what the situation is, you got to do what you can, because you don't control your destiny, you know. And, you know, I grew up in a Christian home, and he says it all the time that God knows what he's doing, and be positive all the time, never be negative. So get that from my parents, especially my dad. So that's you know, the reason why I'm so positive.
But you had to have a little of that patience early in your career. I mean, you just kind of were here for a while, redshirt, and been around, waiting to play, special teams, but maybe, and then all of a sudden, then you really started to play last year.
Yeah. You know, it was hard, you know, walking on and just not, you know, having any play, and you know, I felt that I was, you know, good enough to play at least special teams, and you know, I didn't have my freshman year and sophomore year. I got a little bit of it. But I just had to be patient and just knew that God had a plan for me, and I just kept it going. So.
How much bigger are you now?
Oh gosh, man! I came in at 190. Yeah, gained what 40 pounds. I'm 230, and people don't know, but I ate a lot of McDonald's, you know, to gain that weight, and I'm 11% body fat, you know, and you know. Thank goodness to you know Dave shows, you know. Just getting me right and making sure, you know, that I did everything right in the weight room and not slacked off, you know. So that was a big part of it, just eating and getting in the weight room and pumping that weight. So, but thanks to McDonald's, and that did it for me. So.
Tell us the old Aggie, John Hill, what was his role?
Oh, John Hill.
Here?
Oh gosh, that's a long story, but I'll try to shorten it up a little bit. But John Hill came here in the 80s. Grew up, he was a little bit older than my dad, and it so happened that I had to go to summer school because of classes that I didn't take, and those classes were classes that were on the new NCAA Division I 16 core credit that you had to, you know, take, you know, to get into a D1 school, and we had the old, you know, rule where it was 14 credits, and so my school didn't even update the new information. So Sacramento State, you know, went to Poly High School in Riverside, and they was like, hey, where the athletes at? And they said, oh, they got some guys at Rubidoux. And they said, well, we thought Rubidoux was shut down because they built the new school, Patriot High School. And so unfortunately, because of Sacramento State, they found out that I was ineligible to go to a Division I school. And so I went to summer school, and I seen John Hill, and he was like, hey, what's up, man? What's up, Green? Where you going? I said, man, I don't even know where I'm going, and this is June. Like, I'm, you know, this is where you supposed to be on your way to college, and I'm still trying to figure out where I'm going. And I wanted to go to Southern Louisiana, but my dad, he didn't want me to go there, and he wanted me to go, you know, closer to home. And so he called Ross Peterson. John called Ross Peterson. He said, man, you need to be in Logan. And I'm like, man, Logan, Utah? What am I going to do in Utah, man? I'm a Cali boy, man. And so got in touch with Ross and sent Ross my film, and Ross sent it to Coach Miley because Ross' niece is married to Coach Miley, and got him the film, and they said they wanted to see me, and so I came up here with a longtime friend, Mr. Hernandez, and his son stayed in Spanish Fork, and it was just crazy how it worked. And he was coming up here, and he was like, yeah, I can take Tori, and so it just happened the way it was supposed to happen, and then, so that's a short version. I mean, it's longer, but that's a short version of how I got here. So.
got there, you didn't wrap him up.
Yeah.
Was it one or the other, or both of them, or was it?
I think just being there at the point of attack and not being more aggressive and not, making the tackle, wrapping up at the point of contact, versus just trying to pop them or, so.
Anything else for Tori? Thought the offense played, and then we'll take a few questions.
I thought the offense played pretty well. I think we punted one time, and I think there was one turnover, which we got to clean up. But overall, we ran the football really well, passed the ball really well, and it was a good night for us and put up a lot of points.
For you, Wyatt, I remember talking to you before the season started about tight ends having more of an active role in the offense. How nice was it to see that come to fruition, to have that more active role against Wyoming?
It obviously it was a good night for the tight ends. I think we put up over 100 yards receiving between me and Chris. And it's been there the whole season. There's been situations, certain coverages, certain reads just haven't worked our way sometimes. But it obviously things worked out this game, and it felt pretty good.
Are there ever times in a game where you advocate for somebody, and this is wide open, we're out here, throw it to me.
I always tell Kent, man, just like, hey, tight end, man, I'm always gonna be here. You get in trouble, I'm there. I just let him know that tight end's a safety valve. So for a quarterback, that's how a tight end should be. For me though, I just listen to coach's game plan. I don't try and tell him, hey, this play's gonna work, this is gonna work. The coaches, they game plan, and I just do what they tell me to do, and things work out.
Did you guys know going into tight end that you had a ball?
It was in the game plan. There's a lot of plays in the game plan where there were opportunities, and I guess you could say the stars aligned, where multiple times they were in the right coverage at the right time for our sake, and it just worked out.
Wyatt, how much does Kent's ability to run the football, hold out, and run the football, and your ability to run the football as a team the last couple weeks, how much does that open things up to the tight end?
It helps us out a lot with the tight ends, because we got these a lot of read options, and then little read option pass concepts, all that kind of stuff. Kent's ability to run has helped our offense out a lot. Been a little bit of a spark plug, and since Kent's been playing, I think we ran the ball really well. Devontae Mays has run the ball really well. Offensive line is blocking really well. So it's just a combination of a bunch of things coming together. And overall as a team, we're playing really good football right now.
We talked to you after the game about how you seem to line up a lot in the backfield in this game, a little bit more than some other games, and you kind of took that spot. Did you lead a lot of the run plays? Were you kind of the lead guy into some of those holes?
There's quite a bit of plays where I'm to the play side where I guess you could say I'm leading, but there's also a lot of plays where our guards are pulling, all that kind of tackles are pulling. So it's a combination of a couple people or a couple positions, and the back finding the hole. And sometimes it worked out to where I was leading. Sometimes it could be the other direction. Just a bunch of different things came together in the run game.
Is there ever even close to the same satisfaction of like Devontae breaks a big run and you go, wow, my block helped, as compared to catching a 30-yard pass or a touchdown? Is it even close? Do you feel that? Or?
To me, it doesn't matter to me. I want to win. I want to win a Mountain West championship. If we have to run every single play, and that's what it takes. That's what I want to do. It's nice to have 2 touchdowns, but if I'm gonna have 2 touchdowns and we're gonna lose, I'd rather run the football and win.
But do you ever, after a run play, say, wow, my block was a big difference? Do you ever get that excited or something?
Sometimes I don't even know where the ball went, like necessarily, because I'm focused on blocking my guy, and some of these plays, you know, it could go away from me, but a lot of times with our backs, they're great at finding the hole, and they bounce it back to where it's right off me sometimes. And I watch on film, I didn't even know he ran it right there, but you know, it's pretty cool to watch on film. But during the game, sometimes I don't even know where the ball necessarily, what hole it went through. Yeah, it would have been nice to have it go through a game without having to use their punter, you know, I'm sure our punters would have been happy too, but at the same time, I'm sure they would like to get out the field and punt. But as an offense, we converted third downs, we ran the football, and we passed the football really well, which is good midway through the season. No one was yelling and screaming, but you know, it was just kind of it wasn't too bad, I don't think. At least I didn't notice it wasn't that bad. But I'm sure. I mean, looking back at it now, it's kind of more disappointing than it was in the situation, to me.
What do you remember of New Mexico last year? What do you think about that?
They've got a good D line and some physical linebackers. And they're athletic. So they're gonna be it's gonna be a good opponent. And I don't think they've lost in the Mountain West, and so they're gonna be coming out and shooting to beat us and take us down and go take the Mountain West championship as well. They got the same goals as we do right now, and they're gonna give us our best shot.
That was a kind of a tough game to win at home last year.
Yeah.
They stayed at you.
Yeah, they ran the football well, and they had a good defensive schemes, and so it was a good game last year, and I expect it to be another good game this year.
Anything else for Wyatt?
Well, coming off a very good win against the Cowboys, got number 5. Now we got to go work on number 6. I was proud of the guys during last week, really just getting off the mat and the resiliency that they showed, the preparation that they showed throughout the week. And I think it was exhibited in a big way Friday night in front of another good crowd here at Maverick Stadium. I'm thankful for the fans and their passion, the students and their passion. We're going to need that the last 2 home games, and then maybe we get 3 after that. But again, it was another good crowd to play in front of. The offense was explosive. One of the more explosive games I've been around here at Utah State, running and throwing. That was very, very efficient. Thought we had good quarterback run game. Thought Devontae ran behind his pads really well. The O-line played excellent. I thought the entire night we had a lot of receivers make plays down the field, which was good. I thought Kent was very efficient. And I think he missed on 2 throws and had a couple drops. And other than that, he was spot on. Anytime you can basically run your offense and you do not punt until the 2s come in, it's a pretty good night. You know, we stopped ourselves one drive with a self-inflicted wound with the fumble, but didn't punt till the 2s came in, and just a really good night. So anyway, that's a little bit of my thoughts there with Wyoming, and we on to the Lobos, headed to Albuquerque, and I'm excited about this game. Our players came in this building this morning excited about this game, and had a great meeting with the captains this morning, and they know exactly what I told them is that we will get this will be a really good game. We're going to get New Mexico's best shot. I mean, they've done a nice job of putting themselves in a position to compete here in November. They're coming off a bye week. They're as fresh as they can be at this time of the year. This is a team that has gotten better as you see them on tape over the course of the last 2 years. I think it's very apparent, with the running backs. They're home run hitters. They have the ability to hit a home run quite a bit. And we saw it last year against us. We saw it against Boise State last year. So there's a lot of respect our guys do have for these guys. So I absolutely know that we will get their best shot. Our guys are excited to go on the road again and try to find a way to win in Albuquerque at University Stadium. And so be fun to play a day game. I think they're very juiced up about that. And get off this late night cycle here for a minute and play there. But again, we're excited about this week of preparation for New Mexico. It's already, 2 days into it. Got right back to work, and I know I like the look of these guys when they walked up the steps this morning. They know what we're playing for. They know what month this is. And this is exactly what this program wants to do, is get into the month of November and play these ball games that mean something to us as we go each and every week. So it's on to the next round right now, and the next round is New Mexico. And like I said, we have a lot of respect for them and look forward to playing this game down there. So with that, I'll go ahead and open it up for any questions. The writers are as well? You are? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The drawback the last 2 weeks has probably been the one running back on both teams got so many yards. How can that be fixed? I know I'm not trying to backdoor you on an injury question, but how can that be fixed?
Well, I think it's, the last couple of weeks is not what we're used to around here from a defensive standpoint. It doesn't meet our standards. Our players know it. Our coaches know it. It's being addressed. It's being healed as well. And so we'll be better in that area, I believe, this week. I think we have to be. We have to be very, very detailed in our preparation this week for the Lobos. And I trust and think that it will. I thought for a long time around here, we have won a lot of ball games where the defense played elite and we just played okay on offense and didn't screw it up, and maybe a little bit of the reverse Friday night. Probably won it in part largely to the offense, who didn't screw it up on defense and didn't screw it up on special teams. I thought we were just okay in special teams. Block punt for a touchdown, huge momentum swing. Great job by that team, executing by the players, by Coach Unger with the scheme. And I thought A-Rod was excellent in the punt return game, but kickoff coverage, not what we're used to. Kickoff return, we're gonna get some stuff shored up on those teams because we want to be great in teams. We don't want to just be average, and it's just been okay.
You talked about the offensive line. The thing that really stood out to me is you only had 3 penalties as a team.
Yeah, I thought we were a lot cleaner in terms of penalties. It was an aggressive physical game, but it was there weren't many penalties called on either side. But I thought we were fairly clean on that. Helped us out. For once, we didn't have a penalty in special teams, so that's good.
How nice was it to not have a chop block or an offensive line holding call in that game?
Those are always positive. Yep. We don't aim to have those in the other games, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked last week about needing playmakers, and we thought that Hunter had to be one, and everything. And in the game, what about what the other receivers did? And tell us about the development of Jaron Colston Green, because all of a sudden there at the end of the game, he made some plays, and we're wondering how he's been doing this year.
He's getting better. When you come in late as a junior college transfer, it can take some time, and Jaron's practiced really hard, continues to prepare himself, and he's got some other very good receivers in that room, where it's you don't just walk in here at Utah State nowadays and play. And so I think he's been very patient, waiting his turn, made some plays when they were presented to him, did a nice job.
But what about the other group, like Swindle finally had?
Yeah, it was good to see Brandon. He's getting closer back to 100%, and he's always been able to high point the football. There's a great catch on the fade ball for a touch, or on the go route actually. And the back shoulder that Kent threw was pretty nice. The guys have been working on that. You can see that, and that's something they worked on throughout the summer. A lot of times it doesn't present itself in some games, but we had some press coverage that, you know, DBs had their back to us, and Kent was able to – it was the right call at the right time as well. And Kent was able to execute it. Brandon did a nice job. And so it's good to see him kind of get back going. I thought A-Rod had a good game. A-Rod continues to practice his tail off. He'll play very good for us, I predict, down the stretch. I love that kid. He's doing a really, really nice job.
One of the nice comments after the game was what Devontae said at the press conference, because so many times we keep hearing from people, you know, because Devontae came right in and averaged like 10 yards a carry or whatever the first game. They're going, why doesn't he play more? And he said, I didn't know what I was doing the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, and everybody said should have played more and all that kind of stuff. I mean, could you, you know, that kind of satisfies a little of the people outside saying he should play more or whatever. Too.
Well, there's a lot of people outside this room that have a lot of answers. They don't know as much as y'all and me. So I think if that's Devontae's opinion, then he stated his opinion. But I think one thing that young man has done is he has bought into the Utah State way of doing things, the way we prepare, the way we lift, the way we grind. You know, the only thing that I said is he didn't come in very good shape in the spring and worked himself through that in the summer. And he's done a very good job. You know, the kid doesn't say 10 words and except yes, sir, and he does what he's coached to do. He made a play that none of you guys saw on a fake with perfect footwork, with perfect execution, and then executed a cut block and knocked a guy down on a pass completion by Kent. None of you guys saw it. Coaches are probably the only ones that really, really noticed it. But it was a play and a set and a personnel group that he had not practiced all week, had not walked through it. It had been other running backs because of whatever happened, the flow of the game or tired or something happened and he was in there and he did it and he executed it perfect. And that's just a little small sampling that we saw that say, hey, this kid's he's really getting it right now.
Coach Wiggins leads, if I'm not correct, with 5 kickoff returns in a career. What makes him so good?
He's elite. He's got elite speed, vision, courage. He's like the guy on Days of Thunder. Okay, this is what Wiggins is. So that's the courage he has. Like he's like a NASCAR driver, I should say. Okay, when he's got the little voice in the earpiece saying you're clear on the other side, trust me, it's gonna come open, and all you see is smoke. You with me? And that guy hits the gas and the accelerator, shoom, and then he comes out clean on the other side. That's him on kickoff return. When it doesn't look like it's open and he hits that sucker full smoke and speed, and then all of a sudden the thing parts waters like the Red Sea just a little bit and he comes out clean. That's Wiggins, and he is elite. And if we kick it right to him and have no hang time and no coverage, it's going to look like a pinball machine. It's coming right back at us. So he is big time player.
Apodaca played the quarterback spot in their last game.
Austin.
But we saw Jordan last year. I don't know if he's eligible or what's going to happen with injury or whatever, that kind of deal in the game. But they're kind of different guys.
Yeah, they are. They're a little different guys, you know. He is a little bit more of a runner. Austin's a little bit, you know, did the 2-minute drive and did a nice job at the end of that game. And you know, you still prepare for a scheme, and they have their favorites with both guys, and that's obvious. But you prepare for the scheme and the offense, and you know whoever it is out there will adjust in the game.
Jordan last year was pretty impressive.
I think he's a good player. Yeah, he's a good player. He operates their system well. Austin's been very efficient throwing the ball, and you know I think Coach DeBest does a good job with both those guys.
Coach Wells, I noticed that Dakota Cox had a lot of tackles from last year. He didn't have a lot of sacks and tackles for loss. He really increased that output this year. I don't know if you've really seen him on film, but why do you think he's been able to become more relevant?
Oh, I've seen him on film for the last 48 hours. I mean, that's all we've been watching. And, no, I have a lot of respect for Dakota. He comes from a very good high school program, and a lot of respect for him. it's been, as you see him grow and mature and get a little bit stronger and a little bit faster, he's a very good player. He's played a lot of football for the Lobos, and, he's a guy that I would assume he's a very good leader. He's the mainstay of their defense, kind of the glue that holds them all together, and, he's kind of what makes them go.
What do you feel about their defense overall?
Strong. They fit things a lot. They continue to get better. I've seen, over the last few years, you see them. They continue to upgrade their talent level. But I think, just talking about Dakota, he's a really good player. Kimmy can run. Kid out of East Central High School in Oklahoma. He can run. He can make plays. They've got some skill. You can see them run in the back end. So they're long, rangy safeties, So it's, again, another odd front, odd personnel, 3-4 personnel with even spacing up front. They give you odd front. They give you even front. They give you pressures from the boundary, pressures from the field. You see man pressures, see a little bit of zone pressure. So got to be ready for a little bit of everything. Steve's done. What do you got, Craig?
Well, I'm one of the people outside the room that has all the answers, so I don't have
You're inside the room.
Yeah, but I'm in the room.
You're in the room.
He's in the room, but he's still outside.
You're in the room. We were talking about everybody outside this room, right?
Yeah.
We're all inside this room. And we're still on, right, Kelsey? Yeah. What else? Bob? I hope, we got a lot of guys day to day, man. This is the month of November. Strap it up and let's play ball. We're whether it's D-line, it's wide receivers, it's whoever it is. There's a lot of guys. There's no season-ending injuries for the Aggies.
We didn't ask,
Go ahead.
the two running backs, do you feel like that Presley and Gibson are very interchangeable? We saw Jordan, the other guy behind him, who was great last year and hadn't played as much this year. He had the long run against us last year. Do you feel like they're very interchangeable type, or are they different?
Well, I think they run. They're their own guys. They're different. They both have speed, different types of power, but I think they're effective. And Coach DeBest uses them in a very effective way in that scheme. It's hard to say. The QB, he can get out and run on you too now. It's it's not the triple, but there's elements of it. You have to count for all three of them. That's why I'm saying our defense has to be spot on. We have to be on point this week. What else? Nothing else?
More cold trickle.